My name is Karol Nowicki, and I'm working in Aro Technologies as Technical Delivery Manager for ALM. And I have in total 7 years of experience in the ALM field, working mostly on Windchill RV&S and Codebeamer. And I'm happy to be here with you. Just a quick note about our services before we start. We provide consulting, implementation, and support services for both PLM and ALM to our customers around the world in automotive, medical devices, aerospace, and high-tech industries. Our portfolio also consists of training services as well as overall software development. Today's presentation at the beginning consists of the introduction to the migration to Codebeamer and the approaches to achieve a smooth tool replacement. After that, we will talk about the challenges we can face during the migration, and then I will introduce and describe a few methods which can help with that. Next, I will present our solution on which we are actively working and which provide us another method of migration to Codebeamer. This part will be also given with a short demonstration. At the end, we will compare the described methods and summarize the topics. Let's start with a question: why companies are switching their tools and why Codebeamer is a good choice to switch to. Software development is becoming an increasingly important part of production in many industries, and effective ALM plays a key role in ensuring the success of projects. Old ALM tools are slowly becoming obsolete, and growing organizations are looking for better and newer alternatives. There could be many direct reasons for the need to change the ALM tool. It could be a technical reason to improve the functionality and the user experience of the tool. It could be to improve scalability, cost efficiency, to cover new industry regulations, or just to unify the tool across the company, or many of these reasons at once. Codebeamer, however, is a market-leading ALM solution designed to improve the entire development process. It provides, for example, pre-configured industry templates with best practices, with workflows relevant to specific sectors such as automotive, aerospace, healthcare, and more. For sure, this accelerates the implementation process. It reduces the time and effort required to set up projects in the tool, but also ensures the coverage of compliance requirements. We've recently acquired Pure Systems company by PTC and their product Pure Variants. Codebeamer provides great variant management. And also, being a part of the PTC products family, it provides us also an excellent support of digital product traceability to connect in a better way ALM, PLM, and MBSE. There could be several approaches an organization can take when transitioning between systems. One of the options is to maintain both of them. It gives us a freedom to choose the right tool for the specific needs. So one department can still work on the old tool and another on the new tool. And in that case, historical data is available only on old system. To keep connectivity, we can link objects using, for example, OSLC, or synchronize the data. Of Of course, the disadvantage of that approach is a cost of licenses and cost of maintenance of two systems. The same disadvantage relates to the migration of ongoing projects only, where we leave the historical data also in old tool, but migrate active projects to Codebeamer. The costs are lower in that approach, as we don't need to have any licenses to work on legacy tool. We are using licenses only to see the historical data. And the maintenance also would require much less effort. The similar approach to migrating ongoing projects is a smooth transition in which we are slowly shutting down the ongoing projects in old tool and leave the historical data there. But all the new projects we create in the new tool. In that case, transition would be longer because we are slowly shutting down the projects, but the effort of data migration would be much lower. And also, as you can see, the first and the third approaches do not require data migration, but anyway, there could be cases when it would be required to at least copy some data from the legacy system for reuse purpose in Codebeamer. And the last option is full data migration. The biggest advantage is that after successful migration, the legacy tool can be completely closed, which highly decreases costs. But in this case, the effort to migrate the data is the highest, and we can encounter many challenges and issues related to that. So what are these challenges? Often it would be a large amount of data, which just requires a lot of time to migrate, even if it's not very complicated. And in combination with many active users working on the system, it could lead to the situation when there aren't many time slots in which we can migrate the data with confidence that no one is modifying it at the moment, which also increases costs. To make sure we won't have any user disturbance, we need to have a system downtime, and every situation like that have a negative impact on ongoing projects and user experience with the tool. Another thing is the integrity of the data. It's very essential to not lose any data and to make sure that migration is fully complete. It requires additional effort to compare and validate the source and migrated data. And usually, there are many cases that it won't be possible even to migrate the data one-to-one. And then there are many challenges related to the differences in data models. For example, in Codebeamer, in our experience, we were struggling with the problem that many legacy ALM tools have a document structure approach for storing the data, but Codebeamer has a tracker approach, which requires data transformation during the migration process, and it's risky to transform the data. And what else? It's also problematic to migrate things such as baselines, attachments, and other advanced data information. And if we choose to migrate all data, to do a full data migration, it's required. It could be one of the most challenging problems to migrate a history in a way that to keep as many historical data features as possible. Let's talk about the ways in which we can achieve a proper migration to Codebeamer and mitigate the described risks. I have chosen 4 methods that are available in Codebeamer. These are RecIf, DorsBridge, Excel, or generally Microsoft Office formats, and a solution that we are currently working on, Aro-Migrator. Each of these approaches has its own pros and cons, and the choice between them mostly depends on the situation we are in. It is also possible that it would be required to use a few of these approaches together. At the end of this session, I will also present a comparison table to make it easier to decide which of these methods fits best to the specific data migration requirements. But now let's start with having a look on each of these methods separately. First of the method, RecIf, which stands for Requirement Interchange Format, is basically it's an extension of XML file format. And it's used to exchange requirements, attributes, and other additional files across a chain of manufacturers, suppliers, sub-suppliers, and so on. Initially, RecIf was developed by a consortium of German automotive manufacturers, but later it was adopted as a formal specification by Object Management Group, and currently it's maintained by this group. RecIf consists of a set of special XML tags informing about the attributes, but also it contains a special section which describes the data model of stored data. Part of the example you can see on the right side, example of RecIf. The most important in exchanging RecIf is that when it's used and sending between manufacturers to exchange, for example, requirements or specification to have a kind of discussion, it should always contain only the most recent data. And that means that it cannot be used to migrate historical data or any advanced data information like baselines and others. It also relies on export capabilities of the legacy tool, as not all of them have a good functionality to export, and it could limit our possibilities. The next method, which is limited only to migration for doors, is an application called DorsBridge. This is a supporting tool to import and synchronize data between Doors system and Codebeamer. It's owned currently by PTC. The tool is divided into 2 parts. One of them is it should be installed on the machine where Doors server is, and it just provides a REST API for Doors, which doesn't exist out of the box in Doors. And the second part on the diagram showed on the right is built in Codebeamer server, and it's responsible for all the REST features. It provides a user interface to configure connection to Doors via REST API, but also manages settings and perform the migration itself. The tool gives us a lot of possibilities, as we can migrate attributes, relationships, attachments, history, baselines, users, and discussions in Doors called comments. It's also possible to perform a re-importing of already migrated data to keep it synchronized. And of course, the biggest disadvantage of doors bridge is that it's limited to doors only. Another method is to use standard Microsoft Office formats and the functionalities of the legacy tool to export and the functionality of Codebeamer to import the file. Initially, these formats were designed more to document creation and presentation and not for complex data structures. Migrating data using these formats may result in the loss of, for example, relationships, hierarchies, or crucial metadata due to transformations in formatting. I could list many reasons why the data shouldn't be migrated via these formats, but I decided to mention this because in some cases it could be just the easiest and enough way to achieve migration. And also, additionally, sometimes the legacy tool we are migrating, we are talking about now, turns out to be Microsoft Office files. So it's just good to know that Codebeamer has advanced built-in features for importing Excel files, Word, and Microsoft Project. Okay, and the last method I will present is developed by us, Aro-Migrator tool. Aro-Migrator is a web-based application which works as a proxy in the process of data migration. The tool allows us to map fields and relationships between the source and target ALM systems. It's also able to migrate attachments, history, and basic baseline information. And by basic, I mean that not everything is available to restore from baseline. For example, not the informations about related items in the past. The tool automates the migration process, reducing the likelihood of errors. It handles data extraction, transformation, and loading with a simple and user-friendly interface. In the tool, there is implemented an intermediate data model to preview the migrated data we are migrating, and to enable UI-driven transformations on top of the automated ones. So we can choose if we want to transform data manually in case of a small amount of data or automatically. It could be also used to extend the reporting capabilities of other tools. After the migration, there is also a reporting part, which for now is a short summary in email format. Aro-Migrator is fully customizable and fully cloud-based solution, so scalability and security should not cause any problems during the process. As of now, the tool consists of adapters to Windchill RV&S and to Codebeamer, but it can be very easily extended with another ALM system adapter. The connectors are fully separated, so to handle another tool, it's required to implement only a new module. And currently, as per my knowledge, it is the only tool on the market specific to migration from RV&S to Codebeamer with that kind of capabilities. Okay, let's proceed to the demo. The example I will show would be very simple. At the beginning, we will see previously prepared data in RV&S. Then we will switch to Aro-Migrator, create a connection and mappings firstly to Windchill RV&S, then also configure connection and mapping with Codebeamer. Then we'll set up a migration setting, execute this migration, and see the migrated data in Codebeamer. All right, we are starting in RV&S. We see that we have summary, description, planned end date, planned start date, task type, and estimated effort. Let's switch to Aro-Migrator. At the beginning, we will show that we can create new connection to another tool. For now, we can choose Windchill, RV&S, and Codebeamer only. Specify URLs and authentication, of course. To make it easier, I already prepared some integrations previously. Here are the type mappings. So we are migrating tasks from RV&S to Codebeamer. Here you can see already predefined mapping. On the left side, there are attributes of RV&S. On the right side, it's internal data model attributes. The same for Codebeamer. We can preview that also. We see all the trackers on the left side, and we map tasks only, and the attribute of tasks. And now we can switch to Aro-Migrator part. It's called that the migration part. So we are doing the setting and configure from which tool we are migrating, from RV&S, and to what kind of tool we are migrating, to Codebeamer. And now we have only one possibility because we mapped previously only tasks in RV&S and Codebeamer and in Codebeamer. And here, after we configure the pair, we can specify the mapping of attributes, the source and target attributes. The summary is mapped to name as it's in the background. Summary in Codebeamer is called name. Okay, and then we can start migration, execute that. And now if we have a look on Codebeamer, we see that we have 0 tasks at the moment, and the migration is ongoing. We have only a few items. And when we open that, we see that the new data is already there. We have 19 items, the same amount we had in RV&S. All right, that's it for the demo. If you are interested in more features and the details of this solution, please contact us so we can schedule a separate session with you. The contact details will be given at the end of the presentation. All right, and we are still working on that project, and we are trying to improve that. So here are some insights, what will come in the future and what we have in the backlog. I mentioned before that currently only basic baselines are being transferred to Codebeamer without all information we can get. And our first step to improve the tool would be to make baselines more complete and to have also relationships information on the baseline item. After that, we will focus on improving the output of the process to have much more detailed report of migration, better described encountered errors, and a formal paper with a summary of migration. We are also going to add a preview of already made changes in case of re-importing of the same objects. I also mentioned that one of the challenges of migration is to ensure that transferred data is complete, and we have in plans making a module for automatic tests, which will compare the original data with migrated data to confirm the integrity. And it will also extend the reporting part previously mentioned with additional validation metrics. And at the end, in the later future, we want to try to migrate information about branches and versions. All right, at the end of the presentation, let's summarize the capabilities of method discussed on the webinar. In the table, we can see a comparison of some migration aspects. At the top, we can see that Reckitt and Excel formats, as they are based on exporting data and importing to the target system, are generic, as we can use them on various source and destination tools. They are also not automated due to the same reason. We need to manually export file and then manually import file. DoorBridge, however, is automated, but it's dedicated to only doors. And Aro-Migrator is automated, and we can implement connections to various systems, which makes it generic. Regarding the customization, first three methods I marked as party customizable, as they are options to modify or extend the functionalities, but it's limited and we don't have full development potential there. In case of Aro-Migrator, we have full customization capabilities as we are the owner of this tool and the code. And the only limitations we can have in Aro-Migrator could be caused by the systems to which we are connecting to. And next, below these three aspects, you can see the comparison of data types migration capabilities. As you can see, the methods are various, and it strongly depends on the case which of them are best to be used. I think that the most important is to understand the situation and pain points to evaluate the data model and the tool we want to replace, and to prepare a tailored migration plan. Of course, we support all of these steps, as well as migration execution and post-migration support. Before we finish, I would like to kindly invite you to ALM Connect conference in Berlin on 28th of November, where we are a platinum sponsor, and to the next webinars, which for sure will soon come soon. And the details about these webinars will be shared on our social media, especially on LinkedIn. Okay, thank you very much for your attendance. Thanks for listening. If you have any additional questions or if you want to discuss any points with us, please contact us on info@aroin.com or directly to me. And yeah, thanks again for listening and have a good day.